a little interesting story or rumor that I saw on Bleacher Report was that Cole Kmet has been linked to New England. Should the Patriots trade for him? Well, we'll get into that. And also, why the Patriots drafted Kyle Williams. Jeremy Fowler came out with an article, and we're going to be talking all about it, why the Patriots drafted who I think is one of the best wide receivers in this draft. But before we get into all that, how about you subscribe to Patriots Today? We're giving a video for you out daily of every single Patriots news and rumors, and we're on our way to 26,000 subscribers. So go ahead, hit that big red sub button, and let's get it on with today's show. So Bleacher Report has talked about it and suggests that the Patriots should trade for Bears tight end Cole Kmet. And I thought this was a wild rumor. The Bears just drafted Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren, which I also thought was pretty dumb, to be honest. But here's what the article had to say. The New England Patriots should be interested in Kmet if he becomes available. They need to put pass catchers around second-year quarterback Drake May, and Kmet could be a long-term for them at tight end. Well, I'll say this is just very interesting, to say the least. Cole Kmet is a great tight end. He's a good tight end. But if you look at him, and he's with the Bears right now, he's just not a higher type of player where you're going out like, oh, we have to go for Cole Kmet. If he's available for a trade, we really got to get into it. And to be honest, I really like Cole Kmet. I thought 2024, though, was a very disappointing season for him. 47 receptions, 474 yards, when the year before, he went out and absolutely dominated. I'm all about rookie quarterbacks loving a rookie quarterbacks loving a tight end, because the tight end in the seam is always open. The tight end in the smash route is always open. I had this huge prediction on Twitter. Shout out to Jeremy Taché, who was asking your boldest fantasy football prediction. Give me some reasoning to back it up. And I said, Cole Kmet will be a top 3 fantasy tight end. He was on my fantasy team, to say the least. 73 catches, 719 yards last season. Now with a decent quarterback, and rookies historically love throwing to tight ends, going into his 5th season, he's destined for a breakout year. I'm talking all things football. You can give me a follow on X, on Twitter, whatever you call it. I'm calling it Twitter, at The Real Alper. I'm making a whole bunch of hot takes, mainly talking about the Patriots, though. But Cole Kmet's a solid tight end. I really like him. I enjoy watching him play. I also pick him in props all the time to score an anytime touchdown, but he disappointed me last year. But this makes absolutely zero sense when you have a guy like Hunter Henry that's right there. I mean, these guys are pretty much the same exact tight end. They wear the same number. They have the same measurables. And if you go from last year's stats, Hunter Henry blew him out the water. 66 receptions to 47. The same average, around the same touchdowns, 674 yards to 474. And then the one thing that I'll give him credit for, I'm big about a blocking tight end. That's why I always think Rob Gronkowski will be 50 million times better than Travis Kelce, because Gronk can block. Kelce can't block for anything. Cole Kmet is a great tight end pass blocker. Beat him out of the water. And if you look at Kmet's contract, $9.9 million, $8.9 million in 2026. It's around the same contract for all 3 years. If you traded for him, you'd get 3 years of Cole Kmet. But with more production from Hunter Henry, you have 2 years and you're paying him a lot less. Like, this just doesn't make any sense. And I really don't know what that dude from Bleacher Report was saying. There is just the pros, or the cons just outweigh the pros here on why you should trade for a guy like Cole Kmet when Hunter Henry has been a great target for Drake May, and they're just basically the same exact tight end. You trade for him, it would make no difference at all on your roster. It's not excelling it, it's not declining it. So I'm sticking with Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper over Cole Kmet. You also signed C.J. Dupree as an undrafted free agent out of Alabama. I like the Patriots tight end room. Do I think it could have improvement? I do think it could have a lot of improvement. It's going from Rob Gronkowski to Hunter Henry. That's not the greatest improvement, but Cole Kmet is just, it wouldn't help your offense whatsoever. So I'll ask you guys, really, it's just an interesting rumor. We're in the dog days of off season now, of where we're going to see trade rumors like crazy. And we're going to see them, and we're going to be like, ooh, that would be a really good one. That'd be a really bad one. This one was a really bad one. But I'll ask you guys, would you trade for Cole Kmet? Type T for trade, type P for pass. I'll put that as the pinned comment for today's video. Now, coming up, a pick that I don't think was an interesting one, and one I absolutely love. I'm not going Phil Simms, second wide receiver in the draft class type, but why the Pats drafted Kyle Williams. And we'll get all into it, but before we do, as always, I got to tell you about you can get your Will Campbell jerseys today. He's wearing number 66. I would love to go out in Boston wearing one of these jerseys, Will Campbell, and it's a perfect conversation starter. Hey, what do you think about the draft pick? Honestly, I'd probably rather get a number 18 Kyle Williams jersey, but you can get your Will Campbell jersey today, chatsports.com/Will Campbell. If you don't want to type it all out, I got it for you guys in the comments of this video. So let's talk about Kyle Williams. He's around my height, 5'10", 190 pounds. 2024 was an absolutely amazing season for him at Washington State. 70 receptions, almost 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns. And this dude is just an absolute speed demon. And Mike Reese, he collaborated with Jeremy Fowler on just an article about some draft intel, just some rumors and who drafted who, maybe a couple of players that they were looking at, and they talked about Kyle Williams being drafted by the New England Patriots. And this is what they had to say. Mike Reese said he's a really good player, explosive, nimble, good hands, impressive yards after catch, per a veteran NFC personnel man. When I asked someone with the Patriots what drew the team to Williams, one word I got back was commitment. And we'll get into that commitment in just a second, but I mean, these stats don't lie, guys. The only thing that I look at where I'm just like, is the 5 drops. But 14 touchdowns, a 17.1 yards per catch average, 1,200 yards, 70 receptions. I can't complain about that. And when you have the speed that Kyle Williams does, it is awesome. We just had Julian Edelman get voted into the Patriots Hall of Fame, and that was the other thing that they talked about in that article. Julian Edelman, he's the last Patriots wide receiver to go for 1,000 yards. Mike Reese really thinks that Kyle Williams could be that next receiver to go over 1,000. And when you look at the Patriots depth chart, you add Kyle Williams as your wide receiver too, because I do like Matt Collins as, I know he's 6'4". Matt Collins is huge, but Demario Douglas, Pop and Kyle Williams could be on the field at the same time with the speed of Kyle Williams. It's Stephon Diggs, clear number 1. We don't have to talk about that. We know what he's done. He's established himself as a number 1 guy. When you look at Kyle Williams' RAS, the only thing that sticks out is the height and weight. 5'10", about 180 pounds. I'm 5'10", 200, so I'm a lot heavier than him. But a 4.4 40. This guy's a speed demon. 60% relative athletic score, and I just think that Kyle Williams on this team is going to help tremendously. Mike Vrabel and Eliot Wolf, they want football guys. And what I mean by that is what we saw in that quote from Reese earlier. They want football guys. They want guys that are going to be committed. Kyle Williams already had an NFL draft. He was already a prospect. They made a bowl game. He didn't have to play in that bowl game, but he chose to because he knew that he was a part of that team. He was a part of Washington State. And when you play in a bowl game and you opt out, you don't go through walkthroughs, you don't go through practice, you don't go through anything of that matter. Team meetings, you don't travel with the team, you just gear up for the NFL draft. And what did Kyle Williams do? He did every single thing of that. I look at the same type of player as Cam Ward. He was going to be number 1 no matter what, and he still played in that bowl game. They're like, yeah, he only played 1 half, but guess what? He still went through all that type of practice, all that type of walkthrough, meeting, watching film, and everything like that. Kyle Williams is a type of player that loves football, and he's going to get the opportunity to be on the field at any single time that he can. And that's what Mike Vrabel and Eliot Wolf saw, and they were like, this guy's talented, but he is coachable. He is that type of player that we can put on the field and be productive, and he's not going to complain about a single thing because he's going to be the first guy in and the last guy out every single time. And that's what Washington State coach Jake Dickert, who's now He's now at, I think, Wake Forest, but he said, I obviously didn't get to see that one all the way through, but knowing the coaches that were there, he was one of the catalysts for this type of effort and energy that the team played with, talking about him playing in the meaningless games that he didn't have to play in. He earned it, and you do that through a ton of action. He also knew the value he could create for himself. He went out there, and people saw every step of the way. This guy loves ball. He loves playing. He loves his teammates. To do that, I think, is a big stamp on the character piece of Kyle Williams. So not only do you have that new guy that Mike Vrabel wants to bring in that type of culture, the type of culture that you are a football guy that we had 5-6 years ago. Not the type of culture that you had with Gerard Mayo. Thank God he's gone. But it's going to be a perfect weapon on this offense. You're going to spread the field. You're going to be able to find guys like Hunter Henry. And if Stephon Diggs gets to be on single coverage, look out defenses. I really can't wait to see that May to Williams connection, because that is going to be extremely exciting. And if he's a speed demon, we saw it a couple times with Kayshon Boutte. Well, guess what? Kyle Williams is twice the wide receiver Kayshon Boutte is. And if you can get that deep threat, because we all know Drake May has an absolute cannon. The question is he going to start day one? I think he will. I truly think he will. And we'll get to see him first glance at rookie minicamp that's coming up in a couple days, which we'll talk about on this channel in fully. We're going to talk about every single player, the winners and losses, but that's coming up next week. So I'll ask you guys, will Kyle Williams start day one? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm going to say yes, with the Patriots wide receiver room being the way it is. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Today. We're on our way to 26,000 subscribers. I know I'm a new host, but I'm hoping to do the best job for you guys, because I love the Patriots just as much as you love the Patriots. So hit that big red sub button and subscribe to Patriots Today. I'm your host, Brett Alper, and as always, let's go Pats.